Good day, everybody. I hope that you are well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 2 English lesson on antonyms. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English language arts, grade 2. And then we are going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of antonyms. All right, so we said our chapter is antonyms. Our subject is English language arts, grade 2. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of antonyms is which sentence uses an antonym, and to find antonyms in context. All right, so antonyms, right, are words with opposite meaning. In our previous lesson, yes, we did antonyms, but we did not complete the all of the lessons, right? So we said antonyms are words with opposite meaning, which means that, for example, if you look at an example of an antonym, right, then we can say big, the opposite of big is little, right? It's like somebody would say the opposite of black is white. So basically, it is words with opposite meaning, right? The opposite meaning. The opposite of in. What is the opposite of in? And the opposite of in is out. Up, the opposite of up, we can say is down, right? And that is what we call antonyms. Antonyms are words with opposite meaning. And if we look at these sentences, right, because our lesson says which sentences using antonyms and to find antonyms in context. So we already did antonyms in the previous lesson, but we did not get to these other lessons. Yes, so in and out, up and down, black or white, big or little. If we look at these sentences, right, we're going to look at the sentences and then we're going to identify the word. We're going to underline a specific word and then we're going to say what the antonym is of that specific word, right? So it says Sarah took a small piece, small, Sarah took a small picnic basket with her to the park. So Sarah took a small picnic basket with her to the park. So the word small, we said big and little. Now, what is the opposite of small? The opposite of small. Something is not small, then it is what? Small. The opposite of small. If it is not small, it is what? If it's not big, it is little. It's not black, it is white. If it's not in, it is out. If it's not up, it is down. If it's not small, all right, we can say it is big. We can say big. What is another word that would be the opposite of small? All right, so yes, big, or another word we can say is large, right? So big or large are words that is the opposite of small. Then it says, my sister wants to buy a ticket for the show on Saturday. My sister wants to buy a ticket to the show on Saturday. What is the opposite of, let's say, even my sister? Sister or buy? Yes, huge is also a word that is the opposite of small. Well done. All right. It says, I have a sister, right? What is the opposite of sister? It's the same as saying what's the opposite of girl. All right. So we can either say my sister. If it's not my sister, the opposite of my sister would be say It is my brother, right? Or we can say to buy something, the opposite of buying is to sell, right? So it's either buying or selling. Yes, brother is correct. All right, so yes. So the opposite of sister is brother, and the opposite of buying is selling. Because it's either I'm buying something where am giving, I'm taking my money and giving to somebody else and buying it from that person. So they are giving me the goods, right? Or I am selling that, right? Where somebody's giving me the money. So it's like the other way now around. Somebody's giving me the money and I'm giving the goods or items to that next person. Yes, so well done. Buying and sell, brother and sell is correct. Then we have Cooper climbed down the big oak tree in the yard. Cooper climbed down the big oak tree in the yard. We need to look at these two words, down and big. All right. So down, what is the opposite of down? The opposite of down and then the opposite of big. Big, large, huge, that's synonyms. So the opposite of down. If I'm not going down, right, or if I'm not coming down, then I'm going where? And we made an example of this earlier on, right? So the opposite of down is up. And there we have it, right? And then the opposite of big is either small or it is little, right? So these are words with opposite meaning, right? Yes, down is the opposite of up. Big, no. Remember, if we say big, large, huge, then it is synonyms. It means different words, but it has the same or almost the same meaning. And we need to find the opposite of big, meaning if it is not big, then it is small, for example. All right. All right. So now we're going to look at a few examples of antonyms. And we said antonyms are words with opposite meaning, right? So here we have quite a few words, right? The list, quite a few words or a list of antonyms, right? And we said antonyms are words with opposite meaning or with the opposite meaning, right? All right, so if we look at the list of antonyms, right? And this list of antonyms, right? Remember, it is words with opposites, that is opposite in meaning, right? So if we look at the one word, absent, right? Meaning it's either you are absent or if you are not absent, the opposite of absent means that you are present. It's either you achieve something or if you don't, which is the opposite of achieve, and then you're going to fail. It's either I add up my money or if I constantly spend my money, then I need to subtract certain things. All right. Then we also have another one, after. After, and the opposite of after is before. Beautiful. Remember yesterday I said that about we spoke about beauty, beautiful, and I said people are not the opposite of beauty. You can say things are not beautiful, right? But the opposite of beautiful is ugly. So we can say things are ugly but not people, right? Then we also have another word here, clean. It's either something is clean or the opposite of clean is dirty. It's either you are cheap or the opposite of cheap, you are expensive. Cold, like it is very cold here in South Africa, and it is hot, for example, in Canada, right? And there's still quite a few words. There we have fat and skinny, and those are opposite words, right? All right, now we're going to our all right, so now we're going to a plus students.ca. Our chapter is antonyms, and the first lesson that we're going to be finding out or to do is to say which sentence uses an antonym. So we need to say which sentence uses an antonym, right? And we said antonyms are words with opposite meanings. So just like we identified the sentence now earlier on when we were doing it on the whiteboard, we're going to do the same now with earbiow tutorial, right? It says before. So look at the word in bold. That word in bold, we need to find the opposite of that word. So before the show, they had chicken for dinner. So before the show, they had chicken for dinner. So before, what is the look at the word before? What is the opposite of that word before? Before that is in bold. What is the opposite of this word before? Yes. So the word that is the opposite of before is after. So it's before or after. All right. Megan was the last girl in the room. If she was the last girl in the room, if last is the last one, right? Opposite of last. All right. So last. What is the opposite of last? All right. And if we were to find the opposite of the word last, right, then yes, it's either first or it is last. So well done. First is correct. All right. So we said that it is last and then first. So now if you look at this one before we go to our test, new. We drove across the new bridge in downtown Milford. New. What is the opposite of new? So the opposite of new. Something is not new, and then what? The opposite of new. All right. So if we were to choose the word that is the opposite of new, if something is not new, then it is old. It's like they're saying it needs to be thrown away, right? But if something is not new, it is old. It can be people, it can be things, right? So yes, well done. Let's go to our test. All right, so we're going to our test where we are going to say which sentence uses an antonym. It says, did the bird fly over the tree branch? So over, what is the opposite of over? Is it under, which is option one, or by, which is option two? Yes, so it says, did the bird fly over the tree branch? Or the opposite of over is, did the bird fly under the tree branch? So under is the opposite of over. So well done. Option one is correct. It was too cold to play outside today. All right, so it was too hot to play outside today. What is the opposite of the word hot? Do we say it is too cold to play outside, or is it too loud to play outside? All right, so if we were to choose the correct one, yes, we will choose option one, which means that the opposite of hot is cold. All right, one more. It says, before the show, they had chicken for dinner. Now we look at the word in bold. We need to now say if we choose the antonym, doesn't match that word. All right, so before, the opposite of before, is it in or is it option two, after? Before, the opposite of before. All right, so now we're saying before. What is the opposite of before? Is it in or after? Remember yesterday we did and we did antonyms, right? But we didn't complete all of the lessons. So that is why we are continuing where we had left off. All right. So if we look at the word before, right? The opposite of before, is it option one or option two? Okay, we said option two, so which means that it is after. Yes, so well done. If it's not before, then it is after. Down. Chad climbed down the big oak tree in the yard. So cl- Chad climbed down. Do you say Chad climbed up, option one, or Chad climbed behind, option two? All right, and if we were to choose the correct one, we would choose option one, right? The opposite of down is up. Then we say, this was the best day I've ever had, right? So, day. This was the best popcorn I've ever had, or do we say, this was the best night I've ever had? Which sort of day? The opposite of day, is it popcorn or is it night? And the opposite of day, yes, it's option two, which is night. So well done, right? And then we're going now to finding antonyms in context, right? And once again we said antonyms are words with opposite meaning, right? If it's not big, then it's little. If it is not in, it is out. If it's not up, it's down. If it's not before, it's after. If it's not day, it is night, right? But it is opposites. So now we need to select the antonym in the word that is bold, right? So the antonyms of the word that is bold. So let's say the sky was dark. So dark. Look at this word dark, right? We need to find the antonym of the word dark. It says the sky was dark. Do we say after it rained or the sky was light again? So no, the sky was dark, right? So do we say after it rained the sky was light again? So now we need to identify the antonym in that sentence. All right. So if we were to select the antonym, right, which is the opposite of the word dark, and then yes, light is the opposite of dark. So if it's not dark, then it is light, right? It's the same as saying it is not night, but it is day, right? So light is the opposite of dark. Well done. So now the boy or that boy and girl are the same in class. So that boy and girl are the same in the are in the same class. Sorry. So we need to identify the opposite of boy within that sentence. Sorry about the noise. It was my dog. So that boy and girl are in the same class. So we need to find the opposite of boy. What is the opposite of boy? So the opposite of boy. All right, and the opposite of boy, yes, we would say that the opposite of boy is girl. All right, so if it's not a boy, then it is a girl. So it's the opposite. So all right, let's do the last one and then we're going to our test. It says Nancy was the first person in line. So Nancy was the first person in line. Was Ella the last person in line? So we need to identify the opposite of first. If someone is not first, right? What? So Nancy first person in line. Yeah, so the opposite of first, right, is last. So well done. So if the person is not first, then they are last, right? Because first means you're before every other person, and last means that you're after every other person, right? So well done. Now we're going on to our test, where we are going to find antonyms in context. You need to select the antonym in the word of the word in bold. So select the antonym of the word in bold. It says, after I work on my story, play with the dog. So after I work on my story, may I play with the dog? So what is the opposite of work? Because we need to work and we need to Is it play or is it story? The opposite of work. All right. And the opposite of work, it's like people would say that you need to work and play, right? Which means that you're bringing some form of balance, right? Between working as well as playing. So well done. The opposite of work is play. So option one, sorry, is correct. Yes, you can play outside. No, it isn't cold outside. So we need to find the antonym of yes. Is it no or is it play? The antonym of yes. The opposite of yes. All right. So if somebody says yes, right, the opposite is yes. Of the opposite of we need to find the opposite of yes. If it's not yes, right? And then we can say it is no. So if it's not yes, it is no. So that is the opposite. Opposite of yes is no. So well done. Did Peter say goodbye to you? I said hello to him at school. So did Peter say goodbye to you? Because I said hello to him at school. So the opposite of goodbye, is it hello or is it school? All right. So if they say, did Peter say goodbye? So the opposite of goodbye is hello. So both goodbye and hello is a greeting, but hello is usually a greeting when you are, let's say you are just meeting the person now, and then goodbye is when we are parting our ways, right? So hello is the opposite of goodbye. So well done. Becky has a snack after school and does her homework before dinner. So after, we need to find the opposite meaning of after. Is it homework or is it before? So after, we need to find the opposite of after. Is it before or is it a homework? All right, so we say Becky has a snack after school and does her homework before dinner, which means that after is the opposite, or the opposite of after. Yes, the opposite of after is before, right? Okay, almost done. Let's stop at Rita's house. So let's stop at Rita's house. Then we can go to the park together. So stop. What is the opposite of stop? If you don't stop, you need to go or you need to park. If you don't stop, you need to go or you need to park. So let's stop at Rita's house. Then we can go to the park together. Is it go option one or park option two? All right, and if we were to select the opposite of stop, then it is go. Because if you don't go, you need to stop, or if you don't stop, you need to go. All right, so that is now the end of our lesson. We did antonyms, right? So the chapter is antonyms, and we said antonyms are words with opposite meaning or with the opposite meaning. And we made an example of day and night, big and small, old and new, go and stop, right? Those are all words with opposite meanings, right? And we call them antonyms. So this is the end of our lessons. Um, Thank you very much, grade two, for joining the class. And I really hope that you're going to have a good weekend further. Goodbye.